rainy day at the clubhouse. Well, maybe it's a good day to go through the Emcee businesses. Hello there, everybody. I'm the Missing Sock. Welcome back for more Grand Theft Auto Online. And today we're going to talk about the Emcee businesses. Yeah. So I get asked a lot of times how I make my money. And part of that is the Emcee businesses. So we've talked before about, in our earlier episodes, about a circle of money making, kind of like this dartboard there. And, the circle would kind of represent your time, in the game. And you'd want to fill that circle with different types of missions, that pay out the best that you can find. And then you'd buy a property like the CEO warehouse, and then you'd do that as often as you can. And the reason why I describe it like this is because you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over, because most things in the game have a cooldown timer or take time to be ready, like the Emcee businesses we're going to talk about today. They take hours to be ready. So does the bunker as well. It's good to get these things over time. If you're interested in making as much money as you can, without using shark cards and things like that, you'd want to fill that circle slowly over time with better things to do. Okay? Using your time the most profitable, when you're grinding anyway. So, before we get started, I might also say if you're a new player coming up, I might recommend the CEO car warehouse first, and I might also recommend the bunker, believe it or not, which surprises some people because it's a little bit of a money pit, the bunkers. But I'd recommend one of the bunkers that's actually close to the city, if not the one we have, the Chumash bunker. And you can actually buy a bunker and upgrade it, which does cost you some millions. But from there, that's all you need. You don't need a truck. You don't need to upgrade or unlock any research. Just simply use that as much like an Emcee business. You would simply get your product, which is guns and ammunition, in the bunker, and sell that. And you can actually do that solo, as long as the value, and we'll get into the value in the future in these Emcee businesses as we have a look at them. But as long as the value of your product is under 175,000, it'll only give you one vehicle, and you can do the bunker sells solo. So those are also on our channel in the playlists and in the previous videos, so if you guys want to have a look at those. So I just wanted to mention that before we get into that you might want to have a look at those if you're interested in money. I would recommend those first, only because the Emcee businesses, just going and covering some general information, they can be a bit of a pain to some people. I find them to be a bit of a pain. They take some maintenance in the sense that you have to resupply them in order to make product, and you have to do it more often than the other places that are available. And as well, you can be raided, which is rather annoying. We'll talk about that at the end too, which is another annoying feature of the biker businesses.
How you doing?
Busy right now, Lester. Yeah. So to get started in the Emcee businesses, like I said, they are a great way of making money, but they can be a bit of a pain compared to other ways. And there's certain sell missions, they're a little bit restricted in what you can and can't do. What vehicles you can use, they make you use the vehicles they provide for certain missions, like the sell missions. So it can be a bit of a pain compared to other ways of making money. Now, that said, if you're someone like me who wants to make more and more, and maybe you've already gotten those things, or maybe you don't want them, maybe you like biker stuff and you want to get into it, then we're going to get right into the Emcee businesses. Now, to begin with, you need a clubhouse like we're in right now. So you don't need any decorations or anything like that for it, though. You can just get any clubhouse you like, and thankfully they're not very expensive properties. Okay, you usually get those right on the Maze Bank Foreclosure website. I'll just quickly bring that up quickly for any new players. So Maze Bank Foreclosures, you just go in there, and you might want to select clubhouses to just see those available, and there they all are. The location of the clubhouse doesn't really matter too much. Now, the clubhouse is actually a pretty decent property. They're not very expensive most of the time. Almost all of these, really, compared to the other properties in the game. 210,000, things like that. Now, they do have a similar a layout like mine, and they also have a layout that's kind of a two-tiered layout that some people have as well. Okay, now they're generally all the same though, but there's some variation. Yeah, the ones in the picture right there are two-tier at the Howick Clubhouse. So you can see it's got some stairs there, and there's an upstairs, downstairs. So they're generally the same though. It's just either more spread out or a two-tier. Anyway, so that's how you get the clubhouse started. Now, other than that, the clubhouses do have different mural choices. So the mural like I have here, different clubhouse locations can have different murals available. So that is somewhat different between the locations. So if you care about things like that, you might want to look through the murals of all the various clubhouses. And as well with the clubhouse, it becomes a 10-vehicle garage for just bikes. So that's kind of nice that way too. So for that money, you actually get a 10 bike garage, and you get a spawn point. So unlike some other properties, you have to, some other ones out there, you have to buy the private living quarters and things like this to be able to spawn into it, to be able to start your game from there. And thankfully, the clubhouses, it's free. So it comes automatically with it, I should say. Not really free, but So yeah, 10 vehicles, 10 bike garage, and a spawn point on the map. And you can do some other things in here as well, like hang out with friends, and you get a bartender and all that kind of stuff. You can do arm wrestling, you can do darts. And in here, just quickly going through the general clubhouse stuff, there's also contracts in here, the Emcee contracts that are up there. Generally speaking, those aren't recommended, but if you're a new player who has nothing better to do, or you're bored of the other stuff, or you don't have any other better businesses, you might want to do some of those. The best missions are guns for hire if you have more than one player helping you. And then otherwise, if you're on your own, you can also do POW and jailbreak. And those are the ones that pay out the best. Generally, I don't recommend them unless Rockstar is doing a double money event. Yeah, so every week, Rockstar is usually running some kind of event, and here and there, they'll give you double money on the Emcee contracts. And then it becomes a week that's actually a good time to do those and make extra money. But otherwise, I generally don't recommend those. Yeah, so that's the general idea of it. And a lot of people ask if you need to be a biker. It's kind of funny. I've been doing it for a while, so I don't even think about it. But some people, some new players I've run into, think that you need to be a biker, ride a bike, and all those kinds of things. And I've explained, no, you can be any kind of biker you want. You can drive around in sports cars if you want. You can fly the helicopter. You can do whatever. You actually don't even need to buy a bike, which is kind of funny. You can be in a club without the bike. But yeah, you buy the clubhouse, and that's all you need. It'll even give you a bike if you even want one. The rat bike, I believe, it's all rusted out and everything. So you might want to buy one, obviously, and there's some good choices, but you don't need one. And you can use all a variety of vehicles except for in the missions where they make you use certain vehicles. All right, so in here is our office, and all the clubhouses have the office, and this is the main thing that you'd be using every now and again. Now, you can buy your properties. You do buy your properties through here for the Emcee businesses. And it logs you in automatically. So I wasn't in my club technically, and now I am. Okay, so you don't even have to bother going in the interactive menu to do that. You can just click the computer and it'll automatically log in. Now, these are the businesses I own right now. Now, this is why some people log in all the time to their clubhouse or check it often. And like I said, if the clubhouse location doesn't really matter, but to some people, if you're checking it from this computer, it may matter. But unfortunately, you can't order supplies or do anything from here. But you can see if the supplies are low or if the stock's full, like it is there at the Counterfeit Cash waiting for me. So it's full, and I can see if the supplies are low or anything like that. So we're going to switch over to buy business here, and we're going to have a look at them. So thankfully, we're going to quickly go through them, and then we'll actually go to the locations that I have. Okay, and then we'll recap the information for each location. But I'll just quickly go through a bunch of the information right now for them right now. So as we're seeing them on here. So the Forgeries is the first and cheapest business, and it is not recommended. Okay, so in a moment I'll let you guys have a look at some older footage I've got from my friend Torque when we were setting up his document forgery. I think that was a long time ago. But anyway, guys can have a look and see what it looks like on the inside and what's happening. Basically, they just sell forged documents. It would be like immigration waivers and forged driver's licenses and new identities for criminals or for all kinds of reasons. Yeah, for criminals, right? So the Forgeries. Now, grab my list because there is actually a lot of information for these. Okay, so the Forgeries office is not recommended. Generally speaking, you have the price of the location, and we'll talk about locations a little later on after this. But just quickly going through the money, because a lot of people who are watching probably want to just know about the payouts, so we'll quickly go through that. So you have the price of the location itself, and then it's $1,030,000 to upgrade it fully. Okay, so that would be for all locations, you would be able to upgrade them with security upgrade, the equipment upgrade, and the employees upgrade. Okay, better staff upgrade. So those are the three upgrades, and it's $1,030,000 to upgrade the document forgeries. Okay, now it takes 3 hours to fill, and if you buy supplies, which I do, okay, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too. You can buy or steal supplies. I generally buy supplies just because it's easier and, in my opinion, a better way of doing it. So you buy supplies and it costs $90,000 in supplies to fill your product bar. And then when you pay it out, the document forgeries, it's $126,000 in payout, which profits you $36,000. Now that payout is for selling the FAR location. So like other businesses, when you sell your profit, we'll go through all this as we go through locations, but as you sell your product, you can sell it close or you can sell it far away. right? It doesn't matter where your location is. There's either a close sell or a far sell. You always want to sell far because that automatically pays out an extra 50% automatically on your product. So you generally always want to sell far location. Okay, so the money I'm going to be telling you guys about today is all based on selling it to the far location. Okay, the forgery office is even worse. If you do actually sold it to the close location, it pays out $12,000 in profit if you're buying the supplies, which is just horrible, horrible. To some people, the document forgery is so bad, they think it's evidence that Rockstar originally was going to pay us more and pushed it down on us and never fixed the forgeries, because otherwise it pays $12,000 after waiting 3 hours to the close sale and $36,000 to the far sale. And the sell missions can be quite long, and that's not worth it at all. You can make better money than that in other ways easily. Okay, so do not buy the Forgeries office unless you want the decorations for your clubhouse. And we'll talk about that, I guess, too, because I forgot to mention that. All right, so moving on with the payouts. So the weed farm is the first recommended one. So this is actually in the order of payout. So this is not recommended. And then starting to profit, better profit, almost best profit, and best profit. Okay, so thankfully it's in the order that makes it easier. All right, so the weed farm is probably one of the favorites out there. Okay, and these ones, there's 4 locations of all of the businesses. All right, and the weed farm, let's see, we'll go right through that. So it's the cost of your property, and one of them's missing here because I've bought it. Okay, and you guys can look up that episode if you want to, but it's not really relevant to how much the businesses make. So the weed farm is the cost of your property plus $1,576,500 to upgrade. And it takes 5 hours, 20 minutes to be full. And it costs $120,000 in supplies to fill it, to fill the product bar. And when you sell it, that pays out $252,000, and that profits you $132,000 every time you do a sell mission. Okay, moving on, Counterfeit Cash. Counterfeit Cash Factory. I guess it does show me mine too. And these are locations I own. I'm not identifying. We'll be going through to those locations actually. Okay. Now the Cash Factory, Counterfeit Cash Factory, is the cost of your business, and then $1,529,000 to upgrade it, and then it takes 5 hours, 20 minutes to fill, and $150,000 in supplies. Okay, so it costs $150,000 in supplies. It pays out $294,000 when you sell it, and that profits you $144,000. Okay, approximately. These are rough figures. There can be little variations based on the way that Rockstar's created this. Okay, moving on to Methamphetamine Lab. All right, so meth is the cost of your property, and $1,944,500 to upgrade, and it takes 6 hours to fill the product bar, and it costs $187,500 in supplies to fill the product bar. And that pays out $357,000, and that profits $169,500 every time you do the sell mission. Okay, and the most recommended and the most profiting is the cocaine. The cocaine lockup is the cost of the property, and it's $1,895,000 upgrade. So it is the most expensive too, but it does pay out the best. It takes 5 hours to fill it, and $250,000 in supplies. And that pays out $420,000 when you do the sell mission, and that profits $170,000 to you. Okay, so just to recap, Forgeries selling, these are all selling far. Forgeries $36,000, that's it, and $132,000 for weed, and $144,000 for Counterfeit Cash, $169,500 for methamphetamine, and $170,000 for cocaine. Methamphetamine and cocaine are very close, actually. Okay, when you're buying the supplies. But the cocaine is ready faster. It's 5 hours, and the methamphetamine is 6 hours. Okay, and the Cash Factory, just to recap, that is 5 hours 20 minutes. Weed Farm is 5 hours 20 minutes, and 3 hours for the Do Not Buy Forgeries. Okay, so we're going to go have a look at those locations, and that's about all this computer is useful for in your clubhouse. It's just to check on the supplies and to actually buy the locations. Now, I'm not going to buy the Forgeries. As I said, it's do not buy, but I might buy it in the future when there's a sale or something on for the decorations I mentioned earlier. So as you make money in all your sell missions, piles of money will show up in your clubhouse. just to mention those. And the types of businesses you have will also give you decorations.
Hey, LJT here. There's a bottleneck at the mint, so you'll have to unload some fake bills before you can print any more. Stop watching the currency markets and sell, sell, sell. It's as good a time as any other.
So that's LJT. And he'll call you when you're ready to sell. So right now he's calling us about the mint. So our Counterfeit Cash factory is ready, and he wants us to sell the counterfeit bills. So he will call you, and thankfully he's not as bad as he used to be. He used to be very annoying, but thankfully he doesn't call too often. So now he'll call you when your supplies are low and it's shut down and they've been waiting a little while, and he'll call you. And he'll also call you when it's been full and it's waiting to be sold. And he'll call you like he just did for us there. So as I was saying, as you make money, these little piles of cash show up. I think it's only a few $1 million for all the cash to show up all around the clubhouse and to maximize, I guess you could say. And then from there, the businesses that you own will also give you decorations. So there's some kilos of cocaine there because I have the cocaine lockup. And I think some of the cash would be counterfeit cash from the Counterfeit Cash factory. And the methamphetamine, the blue methamphetamine over there. Yeah, and some joints around here and some bales of weed. Oh, there's some bales of weed over here. Yeah, so all these decorations show up based on the businesses that you have. So if you care about those decorations, you might want to get some of those businesses. And like I said, I might get the document forgery because it's the only decoration I'm missing if they have a sale or something like that on in the future. Yeah, maybe not though. All right, so we're going to head out. There is more to the Emcee businesses, but they don't really, or the Emcee clubs, I should say, the motorcycle clubs, but it doesn't really apply to the Emcee businesses themselves. You can get right into it and get them all. You can also just simply, you can just simply order the ones you want. Just get the cocaine lockup. And then you won't have to worry about raids as often. Yeah. Now, generally, if you're not doing much with your club and you've got product fulls like I do, it might be a good idea to not linger in your Emcee. So I'm just going to disband. So you just do that through your interactive menu. And then whatever you're a part of will show up at the top, the motorcycle club or somebody else's or the companies. So I'm just going to click at the top and disband Emcee. Yeah. All right, guys, so we're going to head off, and we're going to go see the first location that I'd recommend, which would be the weed farm. So we'll go check that out right now. So I'll bring you guys back in a second. All right, everybody. So here we are at the weed farm under Blarney's House of Awesome. Okay, so the weed farm's probably the first business I'd recommend. Yeah. Now, the top recommended ones, again, are the cocaine and meth, but we'll go through those and go through them in the order. So this is the first least profiting one that I might recommend, and that's the weed farm. And a lot of people like it, actually. It's quite a good novelty. It's big. It's got lots of functioning, lots of things happening. A lot of people really like it as a novelty. That said, as far as money making goes, it's the least profiting recommended one, right? Like we've already said. And they sort it out over here and everything. It's great. Yep, and there's our computer over there. We can sell from there. Okay, so the weed farm, just to recap again. It is the price of your property and $1,576,500 to upgrade. 5 hours, 20 minutes for this to fill. That supplies the product bar that you see in the bottom right corner. Okay, and it costs $120,000 in supplies. Okay, and when we go to sell this, it's going to be $252,000 out of town, and $132,000 is the actual profit. Right, because I'm buying supplies all the time. Now, when you buy supplies, if it was empty, it's always $75,000 for all the businesses. But it doesn't actually cost the same amount of supplies for all the businesses because different ones take the different amount of time and cost different amounts of supplies. So, you always order $75,000 for a full supply bar, but the actual result is different in different businesses. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so that is the weed farm recap. Now, just going through a little bit more information about locations, just to cover that as well. A lot of people wonder about locations, which ones were better. We were looking at those in the computer. Now, there are 4 locations for each type of business, 2 in the city and 2 in the country. Okay, now it's up to you. A lot of people wonder which ones are the best location. I would say it's really hard to say, guys. I don't think there is any answer. There is no right answer to which one's the best location. It's really up to you as the player which one is the best location. Okay, there are ones in the city, and that basically means for the fire sell missions, you'll be selling your product all the way out here. And some people like me like that because I like going away from where most of the people are. All right, now some people look at it the other way and think Sandy Shores is the best location. So that's very popular too. As far as the country goes, you've got Sandy Shores and Pulido Bay up here as the 2 locations in the country. Now, the Sandy Shores location is close to the city, and a lot of people think you're safer going to the city because there's places to hide in the city if people bother you and stuff like that. Now, I don't know. It's really, like I said, it's kind of a question. Do you think it's safer to go towards the enemies or away from the enemies? You know, being that the cities are usually the most busiest places. Now, on that note, some people like Pulido Bay. Some people don't. Some people don't like it because it's so remote, and it probably makes your cell missions a little longer all the way to the city, right? But some people do like it because you can buy your whole clubhouse, your whole businesses up here too, and have everything up here and be able to visit it all in a small area. And generally speaking, not too many people will come bother you. A lot of people won't bother to go all the way up in the north of the map. Now, there's no guarantees, as you guys know, what other players will do, but most of the time they won't bother you up there. And if it is a griefer on there or something like that, he's more likely to be in this area where all the other people are that he can grieve, rather than going all the way up to bother you. But there, as you know, there's no guarantee. So that's locations, guys. In the city, there are 2 locations, but it's really more of a what you think. I've bought the expensive ones, and they've worked out for me. I can vouch for those locations just because they have worked out for me. The locations you guys are going to see today, the Morning Lloyd location, and now we're at the wheat farm right here. Yep, downtown Vinewood. Now, I've done all the cell missions, and we'll talk about that, I guess, at the end. And I've been able to do all the cell missions except for solo, all by myself, except for the one mission that has the box-fill post-op trucks. That's the horrible mission. For a solo player, anyway. If you have friends, it's an easy mission. All right, let's head out, and we're going to head over to the next place on the list, and a much better recommended one, the Cash Factory. Yep, Counterfeit Cash Factory. So we'll be right back. All right. So here we are at the Counterfeit Cash Factory, my Counterfeit Cash Factory, the Vespucci Canals area. So right near the beach. All right, so let's head inside. So this is the 3rd most profitable business, and the 2nd one I'd recommend. Now again, we're going, like I said, cocaine and meth would be first, Cash Factory 3rd, weed farm last. But sometimes there's sales and stuff, so you guys might have to buy it out of order to save money. Things like that. Or maybe you want to make money and you can only afford certain ones. You can always do that. So here we are at the Cash Factory. Unfortunately, they're not running because they're waiting for me to do a cell mission. So they just kind of run all the money through here. It's actually quite a loud place normally when it is running. Yeah, and then they do some fine artwork over here on the bills and count it over there with the ladies over there and stack it all ready for sale. And the tumbling dryers, I think that just kind of gives the bills wear and tear and makes them look used, makes them look like they're not new, makes them look like they're not fake. All right, so going through the information for the Cash Factory again. The Cash Factory, let's see here, it is the cost of your property and $1,529,000 upgrade, 5 hours 20 minutes to be ready, to be completely full, that product bar down there. Okay, in the bottom right corner, and $150,000 in supplies to buy it to be full, and $294,000 is the payout, and that profits you after buying the supplies $144,000. All right, and that's the Counterfeit Cash Factory. Yep, hey, these door guys are not very useful. They don't defend against the raids at all. All right, so now we're going to head over to our Meth Lab. I'll bring you guys back there in a second. Alright guys, so here we are at my El Burro Heights Methamphetamine Lab location. Yeah, so let's head on inside, have a look. So this one is the 2nd most recommended business. 2nd most profitable and very close to the cocaine. There they are, working away. Yeah, don't touch anything. Oh, good. I got my gloves on, so that's good, because, yeah. They go through the whole process. Yep. Cooking it, cracking it, breaking it up, packaging it. Yeah. Getting it all into the bags, into the boxes, and then ready for sale in these boxes back here. Yep. Lots of good equipment after the equipment upgrade. Okay, so the Meth Lab is the price of the property, and then $1,944,500 to upgrade, All right, and it takes 6 hours for it to be ready, and it costs $187,500 in supplies to fill that product bar. Okay, it pays out $357,000, and that profits you, after the cost of the supplies, $169,500. All right. Like I said earlier, every time you order supplies, it's $75,000 for the full bar, if it's assuming it's empty, and it usually takes about 5-10 minutes for it to show up. I do recommend waiting for your supplies to show up, guys. In the past, I'd maybe resupply things and then log off. I'd remember just before I logged out, and I don't really recommend that. I think sometimes, the game glitches out and you may not get your supplies. I don't know for sure, but I suspect a couple of my supplies never arrived in the past. So I do recommend ordering it and waiting until it shows up before you leave, if you can help it. Okay, you get that message from LJT, and it will tell you that your supplies have arrived. Usually takes about 5-10 minutes, depending on what you're doing and if you're in the middle of other missions. All right, so that's the Methamphetamine Lab, and now we're going to head over to the most recommended, the Cocaine Lockup. And I've got the Morningwood location, so fly over there and we'll be right back in a sec. All right, so here we are in Morningwood, right along the west coast. If you ever have this location, there's a little grate right there. I usually aim for that grate, and it just fits your buzzard. All right, so let's head inside the Cocaine Lockup. All right, so the Cocaine Lockup is the most recommended business. And everybody's waiting for me to do another sell, so they're all full. So you can see the value down there. It says $280,000. Now, when we actually sell it out of town, it's going to be $420,000. Okay, so for any new players, the value is the close sell. It always tells you about the close sell. You never want to do the close sell. You always want to do the far away sell. That gets you the extra 50%. Okay, so this Cocaine Lockup is the price of the property, and then $1,895,000 upgrade. And it takes about 5 hours for it to be ready. All right, 5 hours and $250,000 in supplies is what it costs to fill it. And afterwards, it pays out $420,000, as we said, and that profits you $170,000. All right. So, and that brings it to the most profitable, just by a touch above the Methamphetamine Lab, but it's also ready faster. It only takes 5 hours for the Cocaine Lockup to be ready, whereas the Meth Lab takes 6 hours. Yeah. Now, just to recap as well, the Cash Factory was 5 hours, 20 minutes, the Weed Farm was 5 hours, 20 minutes, and the Documents Not Recommended was 3 hours. So, that's all the Emcee businesses, guys. Now, going through a little bit extra information about it, there is no bonus to selling it full or not. Okay, some people thought so. I even thought so, that there was a bonus after selling it halfway full. There is not. So it's the same profit, whether it's a little bit or a lot, okay, of product. So I could sell when there's only 2 blocks of blue product down there, or I could sell it when it's full. It makes no difference to the profit other than the total, of course, but there's no different bonuses or penalties or anything like that. Now, some people say that you increase the chances of a raid if it gets over halfway in the product bar, and especially at full. Now, I think I generally agree with that, but I have been raided with just a single bar of product. So it's not an absolute rule. I mean, maybe that was a glitch. I don't know, but I have seen it raid me with amounts that it should not have. So maybe they've changed it over the last little while. Not sure, but I do know that I have seen it raided. I think it's just less likely to be raided with less product, but it can still happen. All right, so speaking of raids, so we'll go through that. So raids, you do want to be careful. You'll get a call from LJT, and it will tell you about a raid in progress, unfortunately. And again, that's why you don't want to linger in your Emcee businesses unless you need to, or you're having fun or doing other things, because it increases the chances of the raid happening to you if you've got businesses sitting full like this one is right now. So if I just sat around and I go drive around in my Emcee, I might actually get a raid if I'm not busy doing other things. It'll call me and tell me about that. Now, you usually only have 1 life per biker. So if you had 2 friends, they'd have their life and you'd have yours. So what that means is if you're on your own, you only have your 1 life and you need to be careful. And you cannot add in any bikers after the mission started automatically, which is kind of unfortunate. I think it's unfair that they raid you unpredicted, but you can't have any help, unless they were there already by coincidence. So The raids, you only have one life, so don't die. So take your time going in there. Maybe get an armored car ready or some other stuff, and then get there as quickly as you can. But make sure you go in there ready. Don't go in there too crazy and get yourself killed, because it can cost you all the product. So if I was raided here, all my product might be gone. Okay, now if that happens, the location itself is fine. You never get it taken away from you. I just have to run the setup mission all over again. And I lost whatever product I had. And of course the supplies, that I paid to do that. All right, so moving on with the raids, there is 3 different kinds of raids that you can get. There is the police raid, and you've got to kill all the police to free your business, and then recover your staff. And they're usually in a van, and you've got to run down the van and rescue the staff by taking out the driver and then bringing the van back to the location, back to your business here. Okay, it's a fairly straightforward mission. It's not too bad. So that's one of the types. The other type is the trader testify, and I think that's just actually for the cocaine lockup. So there's actually a mole, and he's going to try to testify. So you've got to go kill the cops and the trader, and then pick up his testimonial, the paperwork, and bring it back to the location, and then you're done. And that's not a straightforward mission. And then there's another one that I don't get very often. It's the stolen product one, where basically another gang has taken your product and they're trying to sell it. And so you've got to get there in time before they get rid of it and grab the vehicle and take it back to your location. Yeah. And those are the main 3 raids. I think that's all the type of raids that are out there. And they are very annoying. That's one of the main reasons I don't recommend it first as a business, because they're quite annoying. All right. That should be 2 thumbs down, by the way. All right, so let's see. Let's head outside here for a moment. Maybe we should head back to the clubhouse. Grab my buzzard here. All right, now a lot of the cell missions, people wonder, are they different? No. So I've got a playlist on our channel. So you guys can look through that if you want to, all the playlists, and there's a Biker MC playlists, and all the cell missions in there would show you how to do those cell missions, regardless of what business it is. So if it's a cocaine cell, it doesn't matter. If it's a weed cell, you can get those same cells as for the cocaine lockup, or for the meth lab, or for the mall. Okay, so there's no special missions at all between all the locations. There's only one special mission, I should say, that I found in all that time, and that's the weed farm. The weed farm has one mission where I'm going to head to the clubhouse, where you get a stoned buyer, and he sits in the passenger seat in a single vehicle, a single truck, and he gets you stoned as you're driving along, and basically you've got to drive under the influence and avoid the cops. But otherwise, it's a straightforward single truck mission, so it's not too bad at all. Yeah. So that's the only special cell mission I've ever come across, was just the one for the weed farm. The rest of all the other cell missions can show up in any of the businesses. All right, now we're going to quickly go through what those cell missions are. Like I said, I'm not going to show you them because that would take forever. But like I said, that playlist is there if you guys want to look through all the different types of cell missions. You'll see the ones that I'm going to mention here. So there's the 3 trash masters, 3 garbage trucks. Okay, and I've done all of these solo. Okay, except for one. And maybe we'll talk about that one right off the bat. The post-op trucks. So they're mail trucks. They're brown mail trucks, the post-op trucks, box fills. And unfortunately, as a solo player, it is pretty much impossible to get it done in time. Unfortunately, it's an easy mission, but the box fills go so slow and the route is so spread out over 3 trucks that when it's full like that, you just can't do it by yourself. Now, if you have a friend helping you, you might be okay, but I'd actually want 3 people helping you with that. Now, that's one that I tend to cancel. And how I do that is if I started the mission and I'd seen it was the post-op trucks, I would just simply press pause, go to online, and then find new session. And then that's it. Okay, you can also leave the game. And it usually costs you about half a block of product. And that's the most it's ever cost me. Sometimes it even cost me nothing. So half a block of product to cancel any mission you don't like. Okay, and that's it. It will tell you about a penalty, and I find that's a less of a penalty, because if you try to do the box fill mission, the post-op trucks, all by yourself, most people are lucky to get 2 trucks done. Typically you'll lose a whole truck, so that's like a third of your product, which is way more than just a half block for canceling it and trying again, and hopefully randomly you would get a different mission, and you usually do get a different one, but there's no guarantee. All right, so the box fill mission is the only one that can't be done solo. And then, like I said, they got 3 garbage trucks, and I've had no problems with that. Once you get used to it and used to the route, and you don't have to necessarily stop. Some of those trucks missions you can keep going when you drop off the garbage on the way by and not stop the truck at all. Let's see. If I didn't mention already, having the buzzard, like you see me flying around in, you really want a helicopter, or save up and buy a buzzard if you don't have one already. I would suggest always calling Pegasus or having your personal aircraft ready if you have a hangar. But always call your helicopter a personal one and have it ready. Okay, and that way when you do the cell mission, you can jump in your helicopter and fly to those vehicles and get there as quickly as possible. And that's also a key part of doing it alone, is that when you get there quickly, you save a lot of time. If you drive, you're going to lose a lot of time. Sometimes the mission, I could launch my cocaine lockup cell mission, and it could give me 3 boats. 3 dinghies is another mission that it can give you. So the 3 dinghy mission, and it could be all the way up here. So you don't want to drive that. You would be wasting a lot of your half-hour selling time just simply traveling. So you would want to get in your helicopter instead and get there as quickly as possible. So moving on, there's the 3 dinghy missions, the 3 boats, and they're usually up here in the north, and then they're also down here on the coastline too as well, right around here around the Zancudo area. And then I think there's another one actually somewhere down here that I don't get very often. All right, and then there's also a couple more locations along the east coast too. So they can be scattered. So another reason why you'd want a helicopter ready when you do the cell missions. Okay, so that's the boat missions that can be all around. There's also 3 seaplanes, the Douro seaplane missions, and you have to fly low to keep underneath the police radar. And those ones are actually pretty straightforward. If you map out, have a look on the map before you get into the air to see where you're going if you're a solo player, and away you go. And the Douro seaplanes takes a while. It's one of my least favorite, but I've been able to do them in time most of the time, or every time actually so far. But it's been close a couple times. All right, so there's also 3 buzzards. So that would be the helicopter, unarmored version, and that's in the LSIA warehouse, or LSIA helicopter, or hangar, I should say, right over here. Yeah, the LSIA hangar right there. And there'll be 3 helicopters in there. And so again, that's why you'd want your buzzard ready, so you can immediately fly there and then jump in the other buzzards and fly away and keep going back and forth. And if you need to, if you're out there for all the other missions, the Trash Masters, when you're done and things like that, you'd want to immediately get back in your helicopter. If you're close by to the airport and things like that, just call in your helicopter and get in there and get back to your other vehicles as quickly as you can. Okay, like again, that's all in our other episodes if you guys want to have a look. So there's also the Western Bagger bikes, and there's 4 Western Baggers to 4 different truck spots is one mission, where you get all your products to 4 different truck spots. And then there's 4 Western Baggers that you bring to a police sting, and after you get away from the police sting, it goes to one location. And we have all these in our episodes. There is also a mission where if you have more than 1 player, you're not solo, you can get a backpack. And that's one of my favorites, actually. It would be nice if you could do that all the time. And you can do it in whatever vehicle you want. You can do it together with your other friend or not, separately. But you can, it just has a backpack right on your character, and away you go. That's a great mission. Unfortunately, that's only when you have other players with you. And then there's also the, let's see here. Actually, the favorite is probably the single semi-truck. So there's actually a big truck, and that one's nice and easy. A single truck, all your product in it, and away you go. Yeah, there's some bikers that attack you 2 at a time. That's quite an easy mission. You just simply drive over them or shoot them, as in just keep going, and you drive to the far location, and you make your money nice and easy. That's probably the most people consider the best mission, is the single truck mission. All right, now I'm just looking over my list, and I think that is all the cell missions. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, the one special mission for the weed farm, which is the stone passenger in the single truck mission. So it's basically the same as the single truck mission, but you have to drive under the influence and avoid cops. All right, so that is everything. Let's see. Yep, and we covered the locations. Yeah, go over here and get a drink. Yeah, there's a lot to it, as you can see. And unfortunately, Rockstar doesn't like consistency. So it makes it so you have to go through all that.
What do you want then?
I want one of those. If you're ready. Yeah, that one. Perfect.
That'll fix what ails you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. This has been our recap on the motorcycle businesses. If you think I left anything out, just put a comment down below and maybe let us know, or any tips that you think should be covered. There is a lot more to the motorcycle clubs themselves, but that's not really relevant to the money making. Like I said, you don't have to do the biker type stuff if you don't want to. When it comes to buying supplies or stealing supplies, if you have a bunch of friends with you, like an actual biker club, then I definitely recommend stealing supplies, and it becomes very profitable. If you're on your own, it's not so profitable. A lot of people ask about this. When you go and steal supplies, sometimes you get lucky and it fills up your bar, or mostly fills up your bar. But most of the time, you only get a half block of supplies to a block and a half of supplies per person. So as a solo player, you only get like a block and a half or less most of the time. And that's not good supplies, guys. You could go do, make better money doing headhunters and sightseers and buying your supplies than that kind of ratio. So almost everybody agrees that stealing supplies is not worth it unless you have a bunch of bikers with you. And if you have a bunch of bikers with you, a bunch of other players, then everybody picks up some supplies and it becomes actually quite profitable for the business. All right, so a lot of people wonder that. I generally buy my supplies almost all the time, just because, I don't know, I find it's easier and I'm lazy that way. And I move on and I do other things like CEO car warehouses or other sell missions that are ready in the other businesses, or the bunker cells if they're ready, things like that. Yeah. Hey. Do you even eat?
I'll get out of your way.
Okay, so get out of the way. He says he will, but he doesn't. All right, everybody. Well, that is the Emcee Recap. So yeah, that's a big part of how I make my money. Not how I make my money, but a big part of it. And I thought we'd cover this because there's so much information, and we hadn't actually done an episode together. And I read the comment about the counterfeit business, and it's funny because I didn't do my first counterfeit business sell. I usually did, but by that point I realized that all the sell missions are all the same. So it didn't really make any difference what you were selling. It was all the same anyway. But I thought we should at least get back to it and put all in one and tell you guys all about the different times. That surprised me that they're all different times and all the different amounts and what it actually profits you after the cost of your product. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, that's our recap. We'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. I'm the Missing Sock. See you again next time. Oh, but best not to linger in my club unless I want to get raided.
Good luck out there.
You too, everybody. Good luck out there. Watch out for raids. They're so annoying. It's definitely on my top least liked parts of the game. Raids. They just they happen right after you're done a sell mission, so you don't even have time to celebrate. If you had bikers with you, you don't even have time to go back to the clubhouse or anything like that. It's just raid. And I've literally been raided back to back, just so you guys know too. In closing, I've had raid after raid after raid. Did a sell mission, and then I got raided on a mission. I went and rescued them, and then I got raided before I could exit my my MC, and then I got raided again after rescuing them. It's like, oh jeez, it can be so annoying. And the security upgrade just simply slows it down. It doesn't fix anything. It just simply makes it slower to happen, but still going to happen. So watch out for that, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.